Good morning, everyone. So my name is Konstantinos Michail, and I'm a lead architect in Novo Nordisk in digital health solutions, where we build health software and software as a medical device products. Today, I'm going to discuss a topic that, in my view, is the intersection of technology, healthcare, and regulatory compliance, which is about applying Agile methodologies under design control in software as a medical device. So we'll start by defining some concepts. I don't know how many of you have heard of software as a medical device, but in short, it's a medical device that can run on commodity hardware platforms like your phone, iPhone or Android phone, and some other commodity platforms. Agile is a very trendy word the last 10 years with software development. It has started like as a software delivery model back in the 80s, and it has been proven very effective in terms of delivering customer-focused software. Now, design control is a systematic approach with a lot of regulatory compliance efforts in order to de-risk medical devices and prove that the medical device is effective and safe. Now, combining all this together, you can understand that a software as a medical device, it's a patient-facing application, and thus you need to apply a bit different methodologies than you would do for a medical device that doctors will use in a hospital. For this reason, we have a challenge, right? I mean, we have to comply with so many regulations, of course, because we need to produce safe medical devices, but also we need to meet the end user needs. And end users today, they're very picky and they have very high expectations because the apps that they have right now on their phones are actually very advanced. So we have this challenge because the traditional development model in our industry is a waterfall one. Of course, it's linear and organized, but at the same time, we need to start, we need to start like thinking a bit how we can iterate a bit more instead of having like, a finish line after we have scoped a product. So Agile proposes a radical shift in this space. It's a bit more dynamic and iterative process that allows continuous adaptation and evolution in design and development. Of course, this freedom can contradict FDA design controls requirements, creating a complex challenge for some of the developers. So we have an opportunity because we're not the first ones that we have faced this challenge. There was like this technical information report by the Association for the Advancement of Medical Instrumentation, which is like an empirical report of different medical manufacturers and medical device manufacturers who have proven that it worked for medical devices. So I would like to extrapolate these findings to a software as a medical device space. So this technical information report was introduced to reconcile the rapid iterative agile approach with regulatory requirements, originally perceived as favoring a waterfall model. But what happened is that the manufacturer of medical device actually proved that you do not need to follow a waterfall model to produce a safe and effective medical device. And this is kind of a bridge for the developers of the software as a medical device, because I mean the space is pretty mature at the moment in the software as a medical device and the regulations around it, especially when it comes to cybersecurity. So this allows like the developers and manufacturers of software as a medical device to bridge this gap of being comfortable with delivering software in agile fashion, but also like complying with the design control requirements that regulators enforce to produce safe and effective medical devices. So how do we do that, right? I mean, we have some principles that we need to to adhere to. And of course, one of the principles like iterative development, this is what Agile allows us to do. Another one very important is like risk management. It's a risk-based world. A medical device usually is being developed using a risk-based approach. Of course, you all know probably about verification and validation. It's a very traditional model for delivering medical devices in the market. And of course, you need traceability. You need to understand how and why something changes in a medical device and what is the effect of that. And you can only do this if you have traceability across your requirements, the implementation, and design user files. So let's go into the first principle. Some people think this is kind of a no-brainer, but when you go into an industry that has been there for I don't know how many years, and medical devices traditionally been built in a very certain way, there are many incumbents. But at the same time, we have to promote the continuous feedback loop in order for us to meet the user and the patient needs. So for effective iterative development, you need tools. And that is where Agile creates like a bit of a overhead in general, because you need tools to be Agile. I mean, you need the right tools to be able to adapt to changes. And tools like Jira, Azure DevOps, Jenkins are just some of the few enablers that you can start working with to support iterative development. Something that is also very important when it comes to tools and technologies is that you need to be in control of your tools. Some might say that validating a tool for usage might look like rocket science, but it actually is not. You just need to understand what your tool is supposed to do in a specific context, document it, and use it the way that you decided to use the tool. Then going further, after you have set up your tools and you have enabled your team to be able to work iteratively, because you need to track all the changes and all the reasons that you apply the change, then we'll talk about risk management, which is at the heart of developing and manufacturing a medical device. So the good thing when you're looking at an agile process is that risk management is a continuous process. It doesn't happen just at the start of the project, and then you think that you found everything, and then at the end, you try to verify or validate your assumption. But every iteration, when you take in some new requirements or you create new requirements about the medical device, then you apply risk management on continuously. Some might say that this is a better approach. I think it's a better approach than trying to start and trying to identify all the risks up front, because down the line, you will probably find more, and usually you do. And in a waterfall model, sometimes you just pretend that, what you found out, you knew it from the beginning. So some tools that you can use, I mean, probably you have come across, of course, you can use like the standards and the failure mode and effect analysis, which you can also apply to process the risks and identify the mitigations and their effectiveness. Now, moving forward, you have also to probably use a model similar to VNV, verification and validation. And in an agile world, you will probably try to apply a verification in every iteration. So every time that you get out from a sprint or an iteration, you come out with verified software, means that you have software that works and it was built the right way. Of course, it's not always possible to validate after every iteration, because a validation means in a medical device to meet user needs. But when you have scoped your minimum viable product in a way that you can come out with a validated solution, then it's very beneficial for your software to be all the time verified. It means that your requirements are there, they're traceable. You have a design history file that was updated and describes why the software is as is at the moment. So you have shippable software, which is very important and usually keeps projects alive for a bit longer. And after you want to cut a release, then you validate, meaning that you bring in patients, you perform your summative studies, and you demonstrate the effectiveness and the safety of your device. You document it, and then you present it to the regulators to approve it. And of course, everything comes together when it is traceable, right? Because you produce some documentation that needs to be describing, the product and why did you come up with that product, intended use, and so on. But then you need to trace how your intended use is being implemented downstream with your requirements, and how does your design delivers that intended use, but also like how your code base reflects the requirements and so on. So sometimes it's a bit challenging to have this traceability, but usually you have to use some tools to do it for you, because Excel can go as far as it goes. There are tools like DOORS and Zama and more that can help you do this. So these are like the few principles that are quite important. Of course, there are more things to look at into in greater detail. This topic is quite big, just scratch the surface. But in principle, I really believe that the future of Agile in some D is what will allow manufacturers to deliver value to the patients quicker and greater value. Because at the end of the day, at the center of all we do is the patients, the healthcare providers, and the caregivers. And software as a medical device usually tries to capture all these stakeholders and deliver value to each one of them in a safe and effective way. So I believe that being able to adapt in changes and preferences of your patients is what will make somebody successful, and it will differentiate your medical device in the market. Now, summarizing, we looked at that Agile methodologies, when applied under design control, can present significant opportunities for delivering the value to our patients in a more effective and safe manner. Technical Information Report 45 acts definitely as a bridge. It's not that new. It's been since 2012, but it describes how Agile can be implemented under stringent design control. We talked about the key principles and some of the things that you have to look at when developing. And then it's quite important to use the right tools. The right tools is what allows you to be agile and adapt to changes. So I hope that you can embrace the agility in software as a medical device, and you can just reach out to me whenever you want after the conference to hear more about how we're thinking to implement agility when it comes to software as a medical device. So thank you all for your time. I don't know if you have any questions for the last 1 or 2 minutes that we have left.
Anyone who has any questions to Konstantinos? From our software team from Poland? We're good? No, seems like we're good. So thank you very much for the very interesting topic.
Thank you, everyone.